Welcome to the Genesis Healthcare Podcast, where we go beyond the traditional office visit to explore what it truly means to live with optimal health. Each episode brings you candid conversations with our Genesis providers and featured guests from across the health and wellness space, covering everything from primary care and prevention to aesthetics and lifestyle optimization. Whether you're ready to take control of your health through a Genesis membership or explore treatment options to look and feel your best, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Ready to begin your journey to better? Visit thegenesisdifference.com to schedule your first appointment or aesthetic consult today.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up to discuss the Genesis podcast. This is Heather Bishop. How long have you been here at Genesis?
10 and a half years.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
fantastic.
August will be 11.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you for being such an intricate part of Genesis and such a wonderful asset to the patients in our community. So we'd like to discuss a little bit, a hot topic, always been a hot topic, is weight loss.
Yes.
And the misconceptions associated with weight loss and some of the things that you do instead of what TikTok does, right? So would you like to discuss some of the weight loss stuff that you do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, going back to the TikTok thing, that is such a big thing that my patients bring to me all the time. They're like, well, I saw this on TikTok, or, well, I don't know, what to believe, what not to believe. And so it's kind of fun having that initial visit when they come in thinking that their number one goal is weight loss.
Right.
My goal is to change that to actually, well, yes, I mean, weight loss is going to be beneficial, but how do we get there? And then what are we improving along the way?
Right.
Because it's not just a number on the scale.
Right.
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, the number on the scale is a number on the scale.
Right.
I care about what's going on internally and actually reducing inflammation, because that's a lot of times being overweight or being obese is a sign of internal inflammation going on. So where do we go there?
Right. Well, the scales will lie.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lie to your actual function and lie to your endocrine system, and my scales will lie to you as well, because I've dialed them up to be 4 pounds heavier than they really are.
I believe that. I totally believe
it always
that.
gives me something to talk about.
I'm a victim of this.
So I make sure they lie, but it is something that people, I think, in our culture and people in general just like easy.
Yeah.
Like it easy, and like the easy button, to take that from Staples, is the easy button is not always the best button to hit. A lot of times from an optimal health is, as I love to talk about optimal health, that optimal is not average. If you want, and I tell people all the time, if you want average health, go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. If you want optimal health, we're the place. I'm looking for optimal health. I'm looking for optimal health in the people that want our help, or want my help. If they want my help, I want them to be optimal. I want the side effect of that optimal health to be their weight loss,
right,
but really to be their fat mass loss,
exactly.
Right? We still have a little bit of fat, especially as you start maturing in life. I like for people to have a little bit of weight on them, not excessive, but a little bit of weight in case they get a pneumonia or they get something sick. And, the over 65 class or crowd needs to have a little bit. But from a weight loss standpoint, if I come in to see you and I say, hey, I want to lose some weight, mm-hmm, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Well, usually after we have the conversation, the initial conversation of, okay, well, what, first, what is your goal? I want to see where their mind is going, so what is your goal there? But usually what I do, I'm like, hey, let's start with labs. Let's look at your blood work. And I automatically dive into because insulin resistance is so common and underdiagnosed because of our lab ranges, which I'm sure you've talked about that on other podcasts.
Yeah.
But, I always say, look, you're going to get your normal lab ranges, you're going to get Heather's lab ranges, and they are totally different. I actually just had a conversation just now with a patient about this. And so I'm looking at what's going on internally because, again, going back to inflammation and that sort of thing, insulin resistance, that is something that we can totally fix usually with lifestyle changes, with dietary changes. And then, yeah, sure, we can add things in to help. But usually
like GLP-1s. GLP-1s are fantastic when used appropriately.
Absolutely.
They're not very helpful at all if you don't change your nutrition.
No.
And you don't have somebody paying attention. And you and I've discussed a lot of times even looking at hormone stuff. Looking
hormones.
at balancing, your sex hormones, balancing your thyroid hormones, balancing the endocrine system, and your triglycerides and HDL ratios and all of that is way more important than your cholesterol issues.
Yes.
Vascular inflammation, so all of those things are huge. And if you don't have a clinician like yourself that is paying attention to that, the patient's going to struggle. All they're going to do is lose weight, and the scales will be improving, but they are not going to be feeling good.
No.
So
no. Not at all. And to go, hand in hand with that, especially the majority of my patients are female patients. So we're always talking hormone stuff. And a lot of people come in asking about hormones, but some women that don't even think that, that could even be a factor, haven't even thought about that. When we start diving into that, along with the metabolic side of things, and also vitamin levels. I mean, vitamin D, I tell people vitamin D is a hormone. It is a hormone, just as much as, anything else. And so I really start just educating. So that's how the visit goes. We get established. I listen to what their concerns are. And usually it's not just weight, like I wake up and my hands are swollen, or, throughout the day I'm getting more and my legs feel heavy and I'm retaining fluid and my brain fog is bad and I'm thinking, okay, now we're on to something.
Can't sleep.
Sleep is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we're on to something. So we do that, and have that conversation and then really just start educating, which is my favorite thing to do.
Sure.
So.
Well, and with what we've adopted and adapted to in our model of medicine, how has that helped or hurt you in talking with patients and educating patients?
Like as far as
direct
primary,
or membership, the membership model, how has that helped you?
It has been it's a game changer. When we had 15-minute appointment slots and we would have 30 people a day, you're not getting my best, even though I want to give you my best. And I would try, but then I'd be an hour or 2 hours behind,
I was never behind.
Never. Never. 2:00. Hey, is your 11 o'clock going to be seen? But I had days like that and then I felt worn down. I felt beaten up and I felt like I didn't do my patient what they deserved.
Sure.
I mean, that's what. So when we moved to direct primary care, I was able to schedule more time. I was able to, text them if they have a simple question. Hey, we talked about this earlier, but I was going to ask this. It wasn't, I could actually have a conversation with them.
Sure.
But again, going back, educating them, I could really take that time. And I take that time as much as they want to hear it. Some patients don't want to, and you can tell.
All of my patients love to hear me talk.
I know this.
Mostly me. So, the texting has been really awesome in that I set patients up to receive a text. Mm-hmm. Hey, if this number improves, and because we've already discussed the the quality of life that is improved in your health. But if this happens, I'm going to text you and say, keep up the good work. The number has improved. If it has not, you're going to get a text that says, hey, you lied to me.
Right.
So, but it by getting more access to us and us more access to our patients by just shooting them a text or shooting them an email or sending them their labs and saying, hey, this is really cool. I'm going to set the appointment up by setting the next correspondence of text or email, and it's going to say, hey, good job, keep up the good work, we'll see you in 3 months, or hey, you still got blood in your urine and I still want to look at that in 4 to 6 more weeks.
Yes.
You come by and do this.
Yes.
Or, so it sets us up to be more engaged, more involved in follow up, and people don't necessarily have to come in. And that's given me a lot of freedom, especially with like even weight loss goals. I've got people with weight loss goals that I literally won't let them not come in.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I said, okay, I'm going to talk to you about this, and I'm going to hold you really close and whisper in your ear.
Yeah.
All right. And then over time, my hands are going to get further and further apart. And then I'm going to kick you in the hind end and make you fly. Yeah. All right. But over the next few weeks, like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks, you're going to come in here and you're going to have to talk to me about your successes or your failures. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to own up to that.
Yeah.
And I really like doing that.
I mean, that.
They may not like it, but I like saying, hey, I want you to be successful, and I'm going to be right here with you, and I'm going to study your food journal, or I'm going to look at this. And so it's been really helpful for patients to be successful because they know that there's a goal, a long-term goal, and then there's a short-term meeting.
Yeah.
With
accountability.
Us. Yeah.
Accountability. Mm-hmm. It goes such a long way. I tell people, utilize me for your accountability, because that's what I want to do. I want to have you successful. I want you to feel better. I want you to meet your goals outwardly and inwardly. And really, we start with the inside, and then the outside is really going to be the cherry on top, And so, and the majority of my patients, they appreciate that. If I've not heard from them in 2 weeks, and I do the same thing, I'll schedule a text message in 2 weeks. Hey, how are you doing? Where's that food journal at that we talked about? And sometimes the food journal, I mean, I look at it, but it's not like I'm diving deep down in it, because you can look, but it's them to acknowledge what they're putting in their bodies, how it affects them. Yeah. So they learn along the way, and they kind of they're teaching themselves too. And I'm kind of there on the sideline, saying, hey, this is the right direction, or we need to change this. And that's how you get, I think, successful weight loss. If talking about weight loss as a goal, and right. That's not my necessarily goal always, but if that's their goal, we're improving so many other things that you didn't even realize that you could improve, and you're getting weight loss that's a bonus, like you said.
Sure. There's a study that proved 10% body weight loss by just keeping a food journal.
I believe that.
And that's one of the big reasons why I really ask people to do a food journal. Mm-hmm. 2 reasons. Number one, it holds themselves accountable, and they will reach their goal by writing it down. And then the other one is, I want to see how serious they are about it. Mm-hmm. And if they're serious about it, they'll show me their journal. Yeah. They'll show me their blood sugars. They'll show me their blood pressures. But if they're really serious about weight loss, they'll show me what they're eating. Mm-hmm. And they show themselves what they're eating. Yeah. And they'll show themselves how they're lying to themselves, or how they're that's a pretty harsh word, but it's one of those things where it's like, you got a goal that's pretty hard to achieve with big big food industry, billion-dollar companies telling us how to have it our way right away, and we come to us for a pill to fix it, or a easy button like a GLP-1 easy button.
Yeah.
Which GLP-1s are fantastic when utilized with proper nutrition and education. So
For sure. And it can help us, kind of get the ball rolling a little bit quicker. But I always tell people and that's obviously $1 million question uh, all the time. What about, semaglutide? What about tirzepatide or whatever? And I'm like, hey, I don't hate them. But I do not want this to be the be all end all solution, because you're going to get skinny fat, first of all. Terrible. I've done it. I've done it before. I can speak to it myself, and it's terrible, because ultimately you're weaker, you're losing muscle mass, and for females, bone mass, like there's so many things there. And so I love them, but I'm like, we got to talk about it. They are not just like a vitamin.
No.
Like they're not just something you get willy-nilly, and a lot of people are giving them out willy-nilly, or they're getting them willy-nilly, and then they're like, I wonder, why am I not losing weight?
I need a
First of
higher
all,
dose. I need a higher dose. I
higher
need
dose.
a higher dose. And that's pretty frustrating to say. I need a higher dose so that I can justify my poor nutrition.
Exactly.
So, justifying sin is a problem throughout history, isn't it? So, when you're talking about the scales in general, that's where I had a Marine, active Marine, come in, and he said, I have to go to fat class because my BMI is too high. I'm like, you're an active duty Marine and your BMI, and he was stout. I mean, like, he was so strong. So the muscle put him over the weight for his height. And so that's the body mass index.
Yes.
And even insurance uses it, and it's wrong. And so that's where the scales actually do lie to you. And so by losing the muscle, he could meet criteria and not have to go to fat class. But it's like, this dude, I mean, like, he had probably single digit body fat.
Wow.
I mean, like, he was stout Marine, active, like an active duty Marine.
Yeah.
And so, that's where I think a lot of people look at the scales and look at weight loss and really don't look at body habitus appropriately, because muscle equals metabolism, and muscle equals that metabolism that actually adjuncts, your fat loss. So if you look at GLP-1 only and you lose muscle, you will lose weight.
Of course.
And you'll think really highly of yourself until you have a bone fracture, later on in life, because you didn't have enough muscle to stop yourself from a fall.
Right.
Right. And we look at, when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you're looking at 70s as a long time from now. But you're putting together all of that, and you might start having hormone imbalances in your 30s, 40s, and 50s that screw up your life because you lost too much muscle with a GLP-1, and you really weren't talking about building muscle and building a proper nutrition and building all of those things while you were getting that optimal health. So do you want to speak a little bit more about some of the things that you do, from like food qualities and retaining muscle mass, and because everybody thinks that you go to the gym to get healthy,
right? That was what I.
And I'm like, so
yeah. That was totally where I was going to go, because I love, I think exercise is important. I think it's important to get your heart rate up. I think it's good for your mental health. You get that endorphin release, so you get some
other than jogging.
We don't want to run marathons necessarily, but as far as just hit, a quick 15 to 20 minute thing, and they don't have to, and that's the first thing look, you don't have to spend 2 hours in the gym 5 days a week. You can literally get that heart rate, get the benefit of that up, and then do basic, squats, like things that we do every day.
Air squats.
I mean, anything that simple. You can get that. You do not have to make that complicated, and you don't have to buy a personal trainer to get you there. If you want one, that's fine, but that's not going to be, you can't leave the gym and then just continue doing what you're doing, because you can't leave the gym and go to Pals,
No.
we can't do that. So then we start talking about the food quality aspect, and really my big thing is I am huge on pushing protein. And we've talked about this a lot in and out of clinic, but making sure that's not your, that's your first meal of the day. It does not have to be. I don't care. I tell people all the time, I do not care what time you eat your first meal. I don't care if it's when you roll out of bed. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't. Or if it's 3 p.m. I do not care. But whatever you are putting in food wise, that's a foundation for me. That needs to be a high protein meal of some sort with maybe some healthy fats, no carb. Save the
first
carb
meal.
for the first meal. For the first meal. 30 minutes later, an hour later, if you want to have your, healthy bowl of berries or whatever, if that's something that you love, okay. But I want that first thing to be water and a protein. That is super important.
Yeah, and I'll say a lot of people don't eat enough of the protein and fat, so they feel like they have to snack a little bit more when they should have loaded up on a little. If you're hungry within an hour or two after eating your first meal, you didn't eat enough. It's your first meal.
Yeah.
Or you snuck a carb in there, and the carb was the only thing that spiked your blood sugar. And so that's an issue with a lot of people. And you think, well, I have to. And I'm like, I don't care about your feelings.
Right.
I care about your results.
Right.
I'm not here for your feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you got married, right? So, lean on them. Lean on your husband or your wife for your feelings, right? Probably not your husband. We don't have many feelings. But you if you want results, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
I'm not here for your feelings, right? If you feel like you have to have your coffee with half and half, well, just stay fat.
Right.
That's okay. I mean, there's a lot of really happy fat people, right? And that's okay. Or unhealthy people, right? They're happy, but with their coffee, but they're just going to stay unhealthy and going to have some fractures later on in life. So possible. Increased risk for all sorts of different things when you are constantly chasing the carbohydrate, right? And the carbohydrates, anywhere from an apple to a Snicker bar, and that's what people don't really understand. They think, well, I can have my fruit in the morning, and that's like, well, that's a fructose. Sure, if it's fresh off a tree and all of those things, have it at lunch or supper or sometime during the day, but not first meal.
Not first meal.
Right. It's the first meal. And I love the fasting and the intermittent fasting and fasting from carbohydrates. There's multiple ways that we can fast, and we're going to discuss that further in other times. But I love the intermittent fasting. I love to do that personally. And then I love to, I'm not a small guy. I take down a lot of groceries, but I like to eat a lot of eggs and a lot of beef, and a lot of healthier fats and a lot of healthier proteins, from as first meal, and then I enjoy supper. I still have a good protein, and we might throw some vegetables in, or seasonal vegetables, or some seasonal fruits, but I don't eat a lot of salad in the wintertime.
Right.
And I tell people, it's shipped across the country.
Yeah.
It's grown in the Southwest and shipped across the country on a reefer truck that gets here in 4 days, and it looks perfect.
Right.
I'm like,
what's in that?
How's that perfect?
And
organically baby spinach that looks perfect. I'm like, okay, well, they had to gas it to make it look perfect.
Yeah.
So I look at quality of food as a big hurdle for nutrition and weight loss. And like you said, I mean, like the protein and fat first meal, it changes your whole outlook on the day.
And like you said, you feel fuller longer. I mean, and steak and eggs is my favorite breakfast. Like a good steak and egg. Hey, especially on vacation.
My favorite meal.
It's same,
Yeah.
same. But
we do produce beef too.
Yes, this is true. Plug, but good beef. But and another thing, I did not want to forget to say this, but something that a lot of people miss out on when they're talking about weight loss and whatnot is water intake, dude. Like you've got to push your fluids when you're doing, and this is how your body is helping detoxify everything, and really, I mean, cleansing the liver, cleansing the kidneys, and I think that has made a huge difference in people, not even being on any medications, them just changing their first meal. We really focus on that as a foundation, and hydration and adequate supplementation when needed. That right there is it's a good foundation. Sometimes that's just where I start. Like, hey, we'll get into the weeds of everything later.
Sure.
I talk forever on this stuff.
Right.
But let's start here and let's nail this down, and then you build off of it. And that way it's easier for them to make those changes a little bit at a time too, and then they start feeling better pretty quick,
Sure.
darn quick.
Yeah. And I want to plug water as well. Water's been near and dear to me for a long time. And as you've heard me speak about this, is we are designed to drink out of springs and streams and wells. And we drink out of pipes that are filtered of all kinds of the good nutrients and minerals that our body requires for daily function.
Yeah.
And then they add chlorine and fluoride and whatever comes through the pipes. And so it's important that you then filter that out again.
Yep.
So I do recommend people doing a fluoride and chlorine filter. And then after that, you need to replenish with minerals. You need to be supplementing with minerals throughout the day. Demineralization is, I believe, the foundational problem for poor nutrition, because we search what our body is required to have all day long by eating food, fake carbohydrate, sugar, gives us a boost of energy, but it doesn't give us calcium, which 90% of your calcium intake comes from groundwater, or sodium, or potassium, or magnesium, or all of the things that we feel like we have to have. We now have athletes or athletic programs that are giving mineral salt tablets again.
Okay, good. Well, good.
Right?
Makes sense.
If you look at how many kids are out there cramping up or doing this. So nutrition is, and you hit on that from a water, but all water is not the same. And so people think that going and grabbing a water at the grocery store or a case of water is good. And that's great.
It's H2O, but
Except it's not.
But
there's no mineral in it.
Right.
And so that's why I like talking about mineral salts. Okay. Mineral salts, not sea salt.
Right.
Because sea salt is every salt. They all come from the sea, right? At some sort. But mineral salts are super important, and getting the right mineral balance in your body, and even over mineralizing. And you alluded to the vitamin issue. People say, well, you just have really expensive urine. When you're just filtering that all out. I said, well, I'd rather have really expensive urine than a fracture.
Exactly.
And osteoporosis, or be hungry all day because I don't have enough, magnesium or calcium or sodium or potassium or, so I love over supplementing. My kidneys do a lot of work, and they're really resilient at filtering out, the loop of Henle and all of the fun little things and what it does and how it retains certain needs of mineral, and how it excretes excess. So
Our body is smart. We were made wonderfully,
right.
and our body knows what it needs. And like I think you said it great. Whenever a lot of times it could be just the lack of the minerals that our body needs when we start searching for, we get that craving for something and you just don't know what you want, and then you try something and that didn't satisfy it, so you go to the next thing, and I've had that conversation with patients a lot, and I'm like, okay, well, we're lacking somewhere, and it's probably something that you wouldn't even think. It's not that you are craving bread, you're not craving. You might be craving bread, but that's the sugar component,
Right.
But it could be anything like that. And so I do, especially the mineral salts. I think that's something been recent for me, probably in the last couple of years, that never really thought about. I'm like, oh, I'm getting my 80 ounces of water a day. Like, okay.
Sterile H2O.
Sterile.
I mean, there's 90 some minerals that your body needs.
Yeah.
So it needs. And if it doesn't get it, I mean, you will contract a muscle with calcium and relax it with magnesium.
Yep.
Right? All day long. That heart muscle, those. So we have all kinds of muscles throughout our body that need and require minerals.
Yep.
And if we don't get them, the body will rob them. And a lot of times it robs them from the bone matrix and from other cells. And so you look at that, and I really noticed a lot of that growing up in agriculture or farming, livestock. And when we had cattle weaning off their babies that had a good spring, they had very few, they ate a lot less of the grasses. They ate a lot less of the foods around. They had excess mineral available to them and springs, and they didn't eat as much, and they slicked off easier, and they actually gained more weight than the ones who had less quality water. Let's
amazing.
say ponds.
Yeah.
And literally they ate and ate, and they were searching those minerals by eating the foods coming from the soil. They were needing the mineral for daily function. And I paid attention to that, or tried to pay attention to that, and said, if we lose minerals in the body, our body will get it. It has to, or it sits us down and we become tired. Right? How many people have iron deficiencies? How many people have, vitamin D deficiencies? How many people have sodium deficiencies? And we think, well, you should stay away from sodium.
Right. Salt is bad.
Salt's bad. Well, salt is, we have a sodium channel on most all our cells, right? So
sodium chloride.
It's pretty important. And first thing we do when we get to the hospital is we get an INT, or you get an IV, and they're going to give you sodium chloride through it, right? It's kind of crazy how that works, but we need to stay away from it.
Yeah.
So I am kind of big on proper mineralization, but the quality of foods. If you don't get the foundational things and all you do is go after the easy button of phentermine and GLP-1, and you are going to lose weight. Your heart might explode, but you are going to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to keep going back because you're going to gain the weight back. If you don't have proper education in what you do, and what we try to do as all the providers at Genesis. So that's super important to me, is that we all are talking in the same direction. We may have differences of opinion, which is warranted and needed, but our goal is optimal health, and the side effect is weight loss.
Yes.
So
and sustainability in that too.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
Optimization, sustainability, and then you get the added benefits of weight loss and all the other things that come along, with just feeling better in general. So
you take students as well, and they see a different approach to optimal health and wellness, and so that's one of my favorite things to do, is to have the students come in, and the first week they kind of look at you like,
yeah. That look, they give you the look.
Yeah, and or one of my favorites is see, I don't stop to eat.
Yeah.
And so, because most every day I'm fasting
Yeah.
until I leave, or I stop my morning clinic, and sometimes it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And my students the first week, they're just, and these are small, young women and men,
Yeah.
and they're like, I am starving. You have families, like he won't stop, right?
Mhm.
And it is fun because I've trained my body to not crave the sugar first thing, because I didn't eat a Pop-Tart this morning.
Right.
I didn't eat a bowl of cereal this morning. I didn't eat anything this morning. I woke up, had my coffee, had my water first, had my mineral salt, and had my coffee black, and I won't eat for a while.
Yeah.
And like I said, it takes a lot of groceries to sustain over 200 pounds. And so it's it's nice to be able to say, well, I don't need to start my day off with food. I mean, I'm gonna fast as long as I can. And it was fun. I went to a baseball game last night with my son and wife, and had some people that came in for Pine Cove, plug for Pine Cove. So we went to that baseball game, and before I left the office and done some chores, and it was a 7 o'clock ball game. I hadn't eaten all day, and so I said, well, I better eat some protein before I go to the ball game, because I know I'll probably have some peanuts, maybe even some popcorn and something like that. So
Yeah.
I purposefully ate at about 5. And that was my first meal yesterday. And that's not a hooray, Joe, congratulations, you can fast that long. It was, I trained my body, and I was truly not hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did eat at 5, it was heavy protein and some fat, had some avocado, had some leftover beef. And I was like, we're going to put a lot of protein on board. And I had some tree nuts on the way out the door. Of having some pistachios. And then I was like, all right, we can go to a ball game.
Very good.
And yeah, we had some popcorn, or we had some peanuts and an adult beverage. And it was really
And you
a baseball
enjoyed
game.
it. Yeah, you enjoyed it.
It was entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so it was fun. And so it was fun to also be in control of my body.
Mm-hmm.
And not just like be chewing my fingernails. I'm so hungry, because we've both lived that life too.
Oh yeah.
And so for the patients that are out there that are living that life, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
We are not anomalies.
Right.
We
learn
we
from
breathe
our
in and
mistakes.
out every day, and we make those mistakes and have made those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But for those people out there that think, well, I can't do that. Everybody can't do that.
Okay.
But you know what? Everybody can too.
Yeah.
And they just have to have somebody that's willing to make the effort to say, hey, look, I've been there. I've done that. Let me help you take accountability of your own health, and let me help you in your journey toward optimal health. And you know what? The side effect of that's going to be some weight loss.
Mm-hmm. One of my big takeaways that I would say for people that are thinking, okay, that I want to attain weight loss, and that, I want to get to this number. And after we go through all things we just talked about, it's that you can still have a happy, normal lifestyle where you can go and enjoy. That does not mean that you cannot go to a baseball game and enjoy those things. It doesn't mean that on vacation you just have to like stay in the room and cook all the meal, and you can still find ways to do that in a healthy way, but also still enjoy life. This isn't like a prison sentence. It's actually a freedom.
Right.
Once you get control over your body in that way, and you understand why it works the way it works and what it needs, it's a freedom. It's not, people think of dieting or lifestyle changes as, oh, that's so hard. And they feel like it's a prison sentence. Like, well, I can't do this stuff anymore. And I'm like, no, actually, it's totally opposite. You as you learn, it's kind of cool how people can make that transformation. So that's probably where, that's the biggest thing I wanted to add.
Yeah.
So.
We had, I have a student right now, she's physically fit, and she's really in good shape. She works out really, really hard. And so it was really quite comical, her like saying she's so hungry, because she eats breakfast every morning, and then she goes to my clinic, and my clinic takes all day, and I just don't stop to eat. And so, but she heard me discuss that as to what I tried to teach my patients and what I kept teaching my patients. So after the first week, she said, I better implement this or I'm going to be like chewing my fingernails off. So she would sneak off and grab a snack at the first week. And the second week, she said, I'm going to implement the heavy protein with eggs and beef for steak and eggs kind of thing for breakfast. And so she didn't tell me. And then she was talking with a patient and then said, by the way, Joe, I did what you've been talking about and I haven't been hungry at all.
Yeah.
Like one day of just steak and eggs for breakfast for her. Now, here's a young woman who's pretty fit, healthy, slender, and she literally changed on a dime. And people say, well, I can't do that. I'm not a young woman who has balanced hormones. Well, you know what? You can do that by just making a concerted effort and saying, you know what? Let's change one meal at a time. Yep. And so many people think that I have to count calories, or I have to count, do my Weight Watchers or my Nutrisystems or my this, because it has a program for me.
Right.
Well, you can set this program and by just making small changes, and those small changes are additive and they become very easy to obtain.
Yeah.
If they weren't very easy to obtain, a lot of us would have quit.
Yeah.
And just said, I'm done. But it's just, it may be that I don't quit because I'm cheap. I don't want to buy bigger pants. So
that's a good excuse.
It's a great excuse, right? So, but I do kind of, I guess it is braggadocious in a way that I am really proud that at 54 years old I can still do anything I need to do. Yeah. If my son says, "Hey, let's go play basketball," I'm like, "All right, let's go play."
Yeah.
Right. No, I don't have the quickness I used to have. I never could jump or shoot. So, I could still set a pick though.
Hey, that's good. That's good. I mean, hey, we take what we can get.
That's right. But I really appreciate your heart. I appreciate what you've done for the community and the patients at Genesis. It's just fantastic to see your smile. It's fantastic to see the benefit that people get from seeing you and the people here at Genesis. It is fun to transition into this membership model and see us kind of adapt as providers and go, this is pretty cool. Yeah. This is pretty cool because I get to spend time with people and they get a lot better results even that we were giving before.
Yes.
And I think we were pretty elite then. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Genesis Healthcare Podcast, empowering you to live optimally. Ready to take the next step? Visit thegenesisdifference.com today to learn more.